Episode! It is week 3 of America's Got Talent, and we are almost to the last of the live shows, I think it is? No, there's 2 more weeks, I believe. Anyway, this week was definitely a good week. Finally, the first 2 were crap. We're not even going to talk about how last week's results were completely wrong. But we are going to talk about this week, starting with act number 1. Eros Fear Aerial Balloon Show. Now, this is definitely a new concept, and I like it. But I definitely agree with one of the judges, because I was waiting for something good to happen. I was like, oh, that's so cool, the spinning with the neck, which we've seen a couple times on the show. But, a lot higher, very cool concept. And there's like, now what? And then it was like, finished. It took him like a minute to even get to the stage. He didn't really do much. He's not even in, he's brand new to the act. And then she does one trick, and then that was it. So they have a really cool concept. I think it'd be really good for circuses. I mean, they are circus people, but they won't go through. Chicago Boys. Now, this is the thing. Chicago Boys they're like acrobats and jump roping and dancing a little bit, and they're good. And I'm like, oh, okay, so they're doing tricks I've seen before. That's pretty cool. I love America's Best Dance Crew, Saltare. They were an amazing jump rope dance crew. But then I'm like, okay, these are some moves I have never seen before. And the very end, when they're twisting that little boy and flipping him, and they're nearly knocking into him, I was like, whoa. So that caught me off guard. I think they did a really good job, and I think they have a chance to go through. Mitzi Dancing School. I really like the dance of the 1,000 hands, like Howard said, but I don't think that, as Americans, we're educated enough on other cultures to appreciate other things like that. So I think that they put themselves at a disadvantage by doing something that only that culture really identifies with, because it was very repetitive with the hands, and I like it, but I was waiting for, with dancing you want to see some really, really cool stuff, and like Howard said, it was beautiful. There was nothing dynamic, but it was beautiful. I don't think they'll go through, but I did enjoy watching it. Kelsey and Billy. I'm so glad that they didn't do that well, honestly, because the Latte Dog should not have won last year. So I will be damned if another dog act wins this year. But Billy is very cute. They have a good act, but it was very, very repetitive. Frankly, I didn't know it was Wizard of Oz until a little bit midway through, because Hot and Cold really threw me off. But it was a good job. I liked it. I love the little high five he did with the judges. But overall, they won't go through either. Brandon and Savannah. So here's the thing. I wasn't as mind-blown as the judges were. They're like, your singing was spot on, and, I loved it, and we forget how old you are. Now, I do forget that they're as young as they are, and they're good, a lot better than those children that scream punk rock about stepping in dog poop. But they were singing, it was good, I think they could win any talent show at school. Do I think that they did enough to get through? No, I don't. Do I think that they did way better with their original song? I do. I like their original song a lot. I was really like, wow, that's really good. This one, I'm like, yeah, it just didn't do it for me. So I'm not sure what the judges liked about it, but I liked it, but I wasn't like, yeah. Illusionist Leon, Ethan, and Rami Lowe. First of all, do you need to have a name that long? Good heavens, pick something else. I wasn't sure what I was watching. I was confused. I was like, okay, they're going to show us what they're doing, and then I was like, oh, he's doing comedy, but it looks stupid, and he really just had me bored for most of the act. And then at the end, when Nick appeared, I didn't expect that, but again, it was just like, I know he was trying to do something different, and I appreciate that, because, magic is a lot of the same stuff, but I just didn't, I wasn't like, oh my gosh. I actually was like, yes, when somebody X'd him. I thought it was Howie, but it was reversed on the screen. So, they won't be going through either, but it was interesting to see a new concept of magic on the show. Nutella Choppa. Now, she sang way better today on this show than she has before, I thought. She wasn't screaming, it was very, emotional, as she always is, but it was pretty, and I think she did a great job. Was it enough for her to get through? I really don't know, because tonight was a night of actually a lot of good acts. The past 2 weeks were just terrible, but this night had a lot of really good acts. So she definitely has a chance. I think she could possibly be in like the 4th and 5th position, so we'll see. David the Cobra Kid Weathers. Now, I like the fact that he brought in like a huge, exotic, deadly cobra, but he didn't do anything with it. Now, it was intense, and I was waiting for something to happen, but he didn't do anything. I thought he was going to do the kiss of death, where you kiss the cobra on the back of the head before it can bite you, and he just grabbed it by the head. Now that was cool, but I don't think it's a $1 million act, especially not with what he did. I didn't think it was a $1 million act when the rattlesnake bit the balloon. I don't know what these judges see. I mean, they don't. It doesn't take much for the judges to want to send somebody to Vegas. I will say that much. But he is good. I like the fact that he knows what he's doing. I've always enjoyed reptiles, but he won't be going through. Jonathan Allen. I almost cried when he started singing, when he was talking about, you know, like the past and all that stuff. I was like, oh my gosh, you know, he's talking about his family. I love his voice. I could definitely see him on Broadway. I could definitely see him singing. I think he's good enough to go to the semifinals. Do I think he's better than Forte? No. But it's a different kind of thing because it's a trio versus a solo. I really don't, I'm not too sure any singer is going to win this year, but I think he did a great job and I think he deserves to go through. Kenichi Ebina. That was amazing. Okay. So when I'm watching it, I'm thinking, okay, you know, I want some more dance, I really want some more stuff, and I'm noticing, I was like, well, he's doing some fighting stuff, and I was like, wait, I remember he said he's trained in martial arts. So I was like, that's really cool, and I was like, this cool video game concept, I was like, how did the designers of the show even do this? They even know how to do this? That's so cool, and he was on point, like Beyonce's Video Music Awards performance, I think it was on point, where she has, like, the pyramid and everything, and she's, like, hitting the beach ball and stuff. That was on point. I'm watching it, and I'm like, I had no idea all the characters were him. And then he gets to the point where he does that amazing move where he hits the ground, and then he goes back up in reverse. I have no idea how he does that. I've never seen that before. I was amazed when I heard Howie say that he needs to win. I definitely think that he would do amazing in Vegas. He could do a whole show, a whole concept. He does have a genius act, and he executes it very well. So he, without a doubt, will be going through. Jim Meskimen, or Mon, he was put at a disadvantage to go after Kenichi, because how do you follow that? But he did a really good job. I liked his voices, but it was just, something about it was just, I don't know, I'm not sure. He's good, but he just didn't captivate me enough, you know? I like what he did. I thought it was really cool how he could think on the top of his head how to incorporate it into the story, but I'm not sure. It was just, there was just something missing from it that I would have liked. It did remind me of last year with the same kind of concept, you know, picking the jokes, letting the judges pick. And so that idea we've seen before, but it was still good, but I'm not sure he'll go through. And finally, we have the American Military Spouses Choir. Now, these ladies, you know, I'm going to be the first to say, or probably won't be the first to say, that they are good. They are. And I think that they get a lot more encouragement from the judges and good feedback because they're spouses of military men. But that being said, they can sing. Those solos were very good. They had great harmonies. I really liked it. I love the song. It was very, you know, tearful. But I'm not sure if they weren't spouses of military, if they would be getting such the feedback that they are. Because let's be honest, a choir in a Vegas show really is gonna have to, it's something that I don't really think many people will go to, but because they're military spouses, I think people would to support. But just overall, I think that their act is good, and they definitely deserve to do something with it. Do I think they will win the $1 million? I don't. I thank all their husbands for what they do. I thank them for their service. I really liked seeing how they had their different stoles, which said what their husbands' branches were in. There was actually very few in the Army, which I was surprised. But they were good. It's just, I'm not sure that's a Vegas show. Well, that concludes this week's recap of America's Got Talent. Let me know if you have any questions. If you want me to talk about anything else about the show, I have no problem doing it. Like I said, I've gone to the show 2 times, so I do have an experience of going to the show live. I've auditioned for the show once, and I've been an avid fan since it started when Bianca Ryan won Season 1. Whatever happened to her? Anyway, let me know what you guys think, and I will see you next week. Let's see what the results happen. Let's see. Come on, Kenichi.